All right, it is another day in the shop, and we are going to be working on the heavy wrecker today, and I'm going to be answering your most asked questions about how this is even going to work, plus some other questions, like we haven't seen Max in a while. I hope he's doing okay. Are you doing okay, buddy? Are you doing okay? He's doing okay. And then we got Lady, and we got Peanut. But what about Turbo? Where's Turbo? Some of you wonder how Ed's doing. Ed, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Nice day, no wind. I didn't see any meteorites last night.
There's supposed to be one tonight.
I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Heavy wrecker. Number one question. How in the world are you going to be able to change the spark plugs? And my answer is, I don't even have to open the hood to change the spark plugs. I can just crouch down right here. Look at this extension, stick it straight on there. Bob's your uncle. Piece of cake. Changing spark plugs is not going to be a problem on the wrecker, and we aren't even going to have to open the hood to do it. If you would like to sneak in here in the night and change my spark plugs for me, you'll be able to do it.
What happened to you?
I trimmed my hair, you see? Doesn't stick out my hat.
I can see your ears now.
Yeah, people say I look different, but just a little haircut.
Just a little ear trim.
Yeah.
Okay, for this next one, I'm going to use my YouTube thumbnail face. Oh no! You're going to roast your feet off because the engine is too far inside the cab. Let's explore that. All right, so this is going to be our seat for today. Oh yeah. That's where the floorboard's literally gonna be. Boom, boom. There'll be a firewall here, obviously, and it will stick in a little ways. I don't think I'm gonna roast my feet, and I also don't think that the engine's in here too far. It leads me to the next question. Why the engine is where it's at? What do they ask? Why engine where at? That's what they Google. Why Matt engine where at? So why is the engine where it is? Like, why did I move it so far back here? If you talk to any rock crawler, they will tell you that you want your front engine buggies, the engine to be behind the front axle and as low as possible. If you talk to my buddy Colt, he'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do it again, I like it.
Okay. Cab placement. Why is the cab so far back? Well, like the engine, we need it far back so that it doesn't get in the way of the approach angle of the front of the vehicle, and it's also able to set as low as possible. So that's why the cab's back. You look at any rock buggy, that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see the human placement is as near the center of the vehicle as possible. So if you're an off-road recovery company and you're building a rig for Southern Utah trails, you're gonna start by building a buggy first, and then you're gonna add tow stuff to that buggy. Isn't that right, Rory?
I completely agree.
So this next one is two parts. We get questions and comments. The question is, where's the crew gonna fit? And then the comment to that is, you need to add an extra cab to this so that the crew can fit. This is not a crew transport. This is an off-road recovery wrecker that needs to get into crazy trails. So visibility is super important to me. So from my seat, I can see all four corners of the rig and I know where it is. If we were to add an extra cab on this, it would impede my vision. Also, it would get into the space that I need for tow truck things. The party's happening from here forward, the business is happening from here back. And I can't have the party encroaching on the business. So, it's not gonna get an extra cab by design.
That's the way I would build it.
So the next comment we're getting is about air ride suspension on the cab. Why in the world am I not putting air ride suspension on the cab? Well, I'll tell you. This cab is not designed for it, and I don't want to have to design it for it because all this hood and grill is going to be mounted rigid, and I'd have to have the gaps. If you'll notice, the air ride trucks, they've got these crazy gaps, and the hood closes against the bracket that goes to the frame, not against the body. No. And I don't even need it. The MORR and the Banana are unibody. They're like polar opposite of an air ride cab. It's literally the frame, and they're two of the best riding off-road vehicles I have ever been in. We're gonna make this one ride nice too. There's been some discussion on what I'm gonna do with the paint. For right now, since it's already yellow and it looks super cool, we're gonna leave it just like it is. I may paint it in the future, I may not, but as for now, we're gonna leave it just exactly like it is. And with Robbie's current workload, I think he's gonna be really happy about that.
Oh, thank goodness.
All right, another big question that I get all the time is, who in the world is gonna rescue you if you need help? And that answer is super easy. I'll call my buddy Rory and he'll bring Trail Mater. And I'll call my buddy Paul and he'll bring Grandpa Sherm's tow truck. and I'm not even worried about it. And if you've seen either of those guys doing their recovery work with their trucks and just working them, you wouldn't be worried about it either. So the next question that we get, and I find this one odd because you've watched us push it in and out of the shop several times now. Is it gonna fit in or out of your shop? Yeah, it fits in and out of the shop, and as we keep adding weight to it, it's gonna fit in and out even better because it's gonna settle down a little bit. Yeah, that's just a weird question, but we still get it in every single video. Even if we start the video with pushing this in or out of the shop. How big is this thing really? We get a lot of comments and questions about that. Is it gonna be too wide for the trails? Is it gonna be too long for the trails? Is it gonna be too tall to go through the tunnel? Well, to give you some perspective, we didn't have any bananas today, but here's a strawberry for scale. So the old girl is 208 inches long and 91 inches wide. The rear axle on Trail Mater is 103 inches wide. Mischief Maker is 89.5 inches wide. So this is in the neighborhood of Mischief Maker for width, and it's shorter than a four-door Gladiator.
Is it really shorter?
All right, I just made a bold statement. Tucker doesn't believe it. We're gonna go check it out.
I'm a little bit skeptical on this one.
So not only are strawberries good for scale, they're good to eat. Tucker's skeptical.
To the very, very front?
Yeah, 120 or 221 inches.
Oh, look at that.
This is literally that much. It's literally that much longer. Piece of gravel for scale. So, do you think I should dock Tucker's pay for being wrong and doubting me? Comment below. All right, well now that we got that cleared up, it is shorter than a four-door Gladiator by like 16 inches or something. I don't know. So will it fit through the tunnel at Sand Hollow? Yes, it will, as long as there's not a bunch of sand washed in there. Right now there's a bunch of sand. If I was to get through here, I'd have to worm my way through with front digs and just keep digging the front end down an inch and forward. But it's only like 2 or 3 minutes longer to drive around. So if it fits, it fits. If it doesn't. Okay, as far as breakover angle, it's about the same as the MORR. They're within a couple a little bit. This one has slightly better breakover angle due to its high belly and the really large tires. So even though it's got a longer wheelbase, same breakover angle. Approach angle, better than anything we've got in the fleet. Departure angle, the same. It's basically, it'll climb a 90 degree or drop off a 90 degree without scraping anything.
That's definitely the case in the buggy world.
Let's talk about the weight. How in the world is this tiny little Suburban engine going to drag this 12,000 pound beast around? And the answer is, it's going to drag it around handily and easily. So this same engine was available in an RV that was 20,000 pounds. Call it the Workhorse, and it would drag those things down the highway, 65, 70, 80 miles an hour. I'm not worried at all about this. The same top speed on this rig is probably going to be in the 55 mile an hour range. This engine stock will easily do that. Speaking of the Suburban that this came out of, tons of comments about, oh no, why did you ruin such a rare, beautiful, straight, clean Suburban? Look at that. It's not a clean Suburban. Fun fact, we broke more bolts disassembling this than we did disassembling this 1956. So we broke exactly one bolt with everything we took apart on this, and we broke almost all of them taking this apart. Johnny Boy has some plans for the rest of this. None of it's for sale, so sorry about that. It's his. He can do what he wants with it.
That's right. Hey, there's a buck.
So I told you it was all party in the front and business in the back. Now I'm going to tell you what the business in the back is going to look like. First of all, there's going to be a massive roll cage here that's very strong. There's going to be lights on it, braces and stuff. It's going to actually incorporate into some rock slider structures out here that protect the exhaust and some other things that we're going to be hanging on the outside of the frame. Then right behind that is a 60-gallon fuel tank, a big massive cube of fuel storage capacity. If Trevor has his way, it'll have a working fuel sender that's hooked to a gauge that indicates the level of fuel in said cube. On one side, I'll have a saddle toolbox, custom built, we'll build that. On the other side, we'll have the exact same thing, and we're probably gonna incorporate side winches on both sides of this. All of the winches on this are gonna be electric. None of them will be hydraulic. And I know there's a lot of you that are going like typing, like right now, typing like, you're an idiot. I know what you're thinking. But off-road recovery is different than like heavy recovery on the freeway, the highway, whatever. On an off-road recovery wrecker, I feel like electric winches are the best choice, and I think Rory agrees with me.
Whatever Matt said, go with that.
So moving back here, we're going to be structuring our boom, kind of a gin pole style boom for lightweight and strength. It's going to be an A-frame. Trevor is going to demonstrate that. Okay. All right. Now lean out at a 45-degree angle. Oh, that's very good. It's probably not going to be that tall. Trevor's very tall, and our boom's not going to have to be that tall. But that's where it's going to attach to. It will also be ran with a winch. Its up and down motion will be done with winches and some chains for bracing. Speaking of winches, there's going to be one winch in the back. Count them up with me. One winch in the back, one winch in the front, two side winches, twin line on the gin pole, and then one winch to run the pole. No time to count, I must estimate. That's like 7 or 8 winches. So 7 or 8 winches is the right amount of winches on an off-road recovery wrecker, I think. If I'm not mistaken, Rory would also agree with me on that. Trailmater's covered with winches. Another little thing that's going back here is airbags right here. So I'm gonna have airbags for helper springs. They fit inside the frame, and they are going to help with the lifting anti-squat duties. Okay, there has been a lot of discussion on the frame about it flexing. Like some people even said you want the frame to flex, and I get what you're saying, but not in this rig. This is more of a tube chassis, and tube chassis are designed specifically not to flex. And by the time we get done X-bracing what needs to be X-braced and cross-bracing and boxing, this frame is going to be very, very rigid. We'll be able to lift a wheel with just not very much deflection. I don't mean to get all scientific on you or nothing, but there's not going to be a lot of deflection. Who is that guy? He looks like Mark Hamill.
What's Mark Hamill say? What's his Luke Skywalker line?
No! So hopefully that answers a lot of your questions moving forward on the wrecker build. But right now we've got to push this back out of the shop, and I've got to get a race car out of the attic. So yes, there is a race car in the attic of the shop. Yes, I put it there. It was one of those problems that I figured if we stuffed it up there and sheetrocked this whole building, it would just go away. So here's the deal. We are getting central air put in here because we have been running a swamp cooler. And just to let you know how that goes in the summertime, whenever we film and have the camera on, we have to turn the cooler off because it's really noisy. So we're in here working, and when it's 110 degrees, it's just not pleasant. We're putting air conditioning in the whole building. So the race car is in the way. It's like that's where the unit's gonna go. So we gotta get it out of there. Do you remember the race car we left up there?
Yeah.
All right.
I got it out.
We should have.
Oh my gosh.
I've got a race car.
Yeah.
What's coming out? Is that gonna fit? It's out! Oh, it's hot.
Okay, let me down. Well, this had a 5 horsepower Briggs Stratton. All right, so we got the race car out of the rafters, and now we just got a little bit of a mess to clean up. One more thing that I procrastinated in my life that just melted away. All right, so Robbie did me a huge favor. Actually, he's done me several huge favors, but the one that he did last night is he went all the way to Green River to pick up the MORR because we ended up with too many vehicles that needed to be towed and not enough trailers. So he brought the MORR down on this trailer, and the fenders were too narrow, and he drove over them and he did some damage to them. So he asked me if he could leave it here and come back and get it later. Hey, Robbie Layton here. Matt asked me if I could bring the MORR all the way from Green River down here on my trailer. I did it. It hurt the trailer fenders. They're damaged. I'm gonna have to leave the trailer here. I gotta go talk to Matt and say, hey, can I leave my trailer here? And I'll come back and get it later. All right, where's Matt at? Is he back here? Is he in the office? Where's he at? Let's go find him. Matt in here? Hey, Matt. Is it all right if I leave my trailer in your yard for a minute? The fender's broken off and we'll have to come back and get it later and maybe fix it. I don't know. We're really busy. Is that all right with you? Sure, no problem. Just put it back in the yard back there. You can leave it as long as you want. All right, well, as long as you're sure it's no problem, we'll get it as quick as we can. Thanks. And did you notice I've been working on my beard? Look at that. I'm practically a full-grown man. I said, sure, no problem. But I have decided, because of all the things that he's done, and I'll tell you more about those in a second, we're gonna build him some drive-over fenders and surprise him with it. So not only did Robbie come and pull one of my irons out of the fire by helping me get the MORR back here to my shop, but also he's done all the work on the Golden Nugget without asking for a dime. It's a very expensive project. If you would like to help him, you can go to RobbieLayton.com. You can get your own shirt, and it would help fund the project to get Ed back in his wheels.
So support a wonderful human being by buying a wonderful human shirt. RobbieLayton.com.
Robbie has shirts for humans. Okay, so here's the plan. So it's got pretty nice fenders on there. This is what happened. This one broke off right here. Hillbilly. So Robbie's planning on coming down here using my welder to tack this back together, take it back to his shop, and then modify it for drive-over fenders. Our plan is to modify it for drive-over fenders, deliver it to his shop, and surprise him with it. So we got to get right after it because he's going to be here in a couple days, which means we have like 1 day to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone duck! This is ridiculous.
Is he in?
Surprise!
Happy birthday, Rudy!
Thank you. I was wondering why Janelle wanted to come here today. You got it.
Yeah.
It's a little windy today. I'm afraid it's gonna blow Rudy's pie off. Oh, dang. I almost fell.
Birthday, dear Rudy. Happy birthday to you.
If you can't blow those out, that's bad.
So I didn't tell Robbie I was gonna do this. He just thought I was gonna weld the fender on, but I decided, he mentioned that he wanted drive over fenders. So you got drive over fenders.
You guys didn't just weld it?
Nope. Skeeter and Lizzie worked really hard on this.
We don't have to do it now.
Yeah, you gotta paint it though. Jamie's like, aren't you gonna paint it? It looks terrible. And I said, no, I'm not gonna paint Robbie's stuff.
It looks amazing. Oh, okay, I see what you did there. I was like, what'd they do? They put a brace. No, you skinned the whole inside.
Yeah, you can kick it.
Oh, you even did the... Now there's like some clearance.
Yeah, I raised this up.
Tires.
I noticed that this was rubbing,
Yes.
so we actually raised that just a little bit.
Awesome. Well, I think we can handle painting these. Since you guys did the easy stuff, we'll take care of the hard stuff.
For your new Jeep, it'll drive right over this.
Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Even the
Skeeter.
small details, Skeeter. You did awesome. Thank you.
All right, we're here with Fab Rats. We're in Paul's shop. Robbie just dropped off the Golden Nugget, and Robbie's still here.
Everyone is still here. Look at this crew.
So Papa Dar stopped in, he's checking it out. I've heard a lot of talk about what's gonna be happening to get this finished, but one subject keeps coming up over and over again. The primary objective on the Golden Nugget is to not scratch it. Do not scratch it. Paul, how many times have you said that today, Paul?
At least 10 or 15, and
Yeah.
I'm still nervous about it. I've never worked on nice stuff. I don't even know what to do with it.
I'm not even touching it, and I'm nervous. You guys are all making me nervous.
I changed the clutch in a Corvair once that was like this nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like laying blankets down everywhere, every tool, everything.
I don't even know what to do with something that nice, but we will.
But anyway, it is in good hands. I have complete confidence this is going to get done on schedule. I'm super excited to go test drive it. I am super excited to go test drive it.
You know what I'm super happy about?
What?
I don't have to lie to Ed.
Oh, this is going to be nice to get this back
Yeah, it's
to
going to
Ed.
be great. I'm tired of lying to Ed.
But as soon as Paul gets this back together, the three of us are going to take it on a trail ride. We're going to shake it down, make sure that it is worthy of taking Ed out in the boonies and not stranding him.
Yeah, now it's at Robbie's house now.
Yeah, Ed says, or they told Ed that it's going to my shop now. I just delivered it.
So for those of you that have been following along with the Golden Nugget build, you will have noticed that it started out at my shop, and then it went to Fabrat's shop, and it went to Robbie Layton's shop, and now it's going back to Fabrat. So that's where you're going to have to keep up with the developments of the Golden Nugget until the time that it gets revealed to Ed, along with the Rokon and the Rokon trailer. It's going to be amazing. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for watching.
I think you got it that time.
Cut.
Good enough.
Whatever you build, it's probably not quite as good as mine.